such a high place. Like, it got higher than I thought it would. I thought it was probably going to get, like 21st or something.
Alrighty, I'm back.
Train spotting. Oh,
Yeah.
Train spotting. As the list kind of went down, it might not be as accurate because we were more concerned with the top rankings and who was actually going to be winning the prizes.
Yeah.
So, let's see, train spotting. I'll find my comments on that one. I gave it, well, I actually gave it that high. I gave it 25% for story and 50 for presentation. What did I do?
Just went robot.
The story felt a bit weak and confusing. Like why they're clones on a platform. I thought the animation was decent, but it was too fast. It felt like it was animated at a low frames per second and just sped up.
Why was fight scene by Luigi? Why was that disqualified?
Yeah, I had the same question.
It was released before the deadline.
I just want to mention, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed Around the House in 2080 frames.
That's something that I did want to mention.
I really went into it with low expectations because I hadn't seen anything of Eddie Haskell's that I really was that into until that point. And even though it was kind of repetitive and a little bit silly, it was fun, and I found it just to be pretty enjoyable.
It just felt like a genuine brick film.
Because that was saying in the thread that he thought it was going to get disqualified because it had words on the map. I didn't understand that at all.
I think they're disqualified for that.
Yeah, I want to understand. Or like, because it had words on the computer and you're going to get disqualified.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put that in the same boat as it being dialogue as such. It did toe the line in my opinion, but it didn't step over it.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Oh, there's one other I want to say something about.
Okay, sure.
I just wanted to mention Silence by Max Butcher. I was of a mixed mind about it because I felt like it was actually a step back from his previous film, Nightmare, which was kind of similar in that it was a departure from his usual comedy. But I liked... What's that? It's neat that he tried to do something a little bit different with eliminating sound altogether and making that part of his narrative. But at the same time, I felt like it was an experiment. I felt like it was kind of a failed experiment.
I thought...
in the beginning, he asks... He makes the comment that some people say that a movie isn't complete without its soundtrack. Is that true? Can you really build an atmosphere into a story with only visuals? And unfortunately, in this case, I think the answer is no.
Snap!
I kind of agree with you there.
I did enjoy some of the technical aspects of the film, like the camera angles and animation. But again, I found myself not really having a clue as to what was going on most of the time. I mean, maybe I'm just a bit thick, but story there, but I couldn't decipher it.
Yeah. Like I said, it was an experiment, and it failed, but kudos for you for attempting the experiment in the first place. So one of the issues on the forums lately has been the issue of constructive criticism and what that entails. There have been a couple threads in the last couple days where people have offered somewhat harsh, on the spectrum from rude to not very thoughtful reviews towards people's films. What's that?
One is saying, like, he's like going you is doing like someone's idea. It's kind of rude to like be all cussing about it because you didn't like someone's idea and he's making fun of someone's voice and just like you don't want to do that because it scares people away from BIM and it scrapes away their self-esteem. It's just like, why do you go about doing that?
There's even something that happened tonight with a new member. He posted up, I think, 4 or 5 different movies, and to be honest, they weren't that good. But we had a couple people jump down his throat about these aren't real brick films and yada yada yada, and it really gave him the wrong impression. And so you could say, yeah, he's taking it too seriously, but then you could also definitely say that they were being not that friendly with their welcome to BricksinMotion. I think it's important if you're gonna say something negative about some of these films, talk about what they can do better. Don't just
instead of just being all like, your film sucks and you did all this wrong and you suck and then I'm gonna go away now and like.
Yeah, you gotta balance the scale on it. For like one criticism, you could have one like plus kind of thing, what you liked or how they could improve on it. You know, you don't want to just completely beat someone down and then say it had nice music though.
Yeah, it's like you want to tell someone how to.
So I think one of the things it comes down to is the old adage that if you don't have something nice to say, then don't say anything. There's been a couple of times when I've seen a thread title and I'll go and have a read through it, and I just can't really think of anything to add to the conversation or that might be taken the wrong way, and I can't really think of how else to phrase it. So I'll leave it.
I think we just need to remember, why are we here at this site? We're here because we want to be with the community of animators, get feedback on the things that we create, and to provide it for others. And if we want to get good feedback for the films that we create, one of the best ways you can do that is to offer it to other people. If you want to get crappy reviews, by all means, put up one-sentence posts telling somebody they suck or what have you. You know, even you can even have good positive reviews that aren't that great because somebody just puts in nice with 3 smileys, and that's not that helpful of a review.
13 smileys.
13 is even worse.
I've personally always appreciated those. It makes me feel nice.
I even have some. I even have. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I even have a personal experience with giving negative feedback, and I can tell you that if you only focus on the negative stuff and mostly just bash them or something, it's not super effective at all.
Just makes them want to come back and say, well, you don't do any better, and I'm just gonna be all defensive and stuff. So,
yeah, that brings up a good point, because there is a place.
Isn't that what you do?
There is a place for negative criticism. It is important to point out the things that need work. And so if you're on the receiving end of that, don't take it personally. It's the internet. Everybody says things in a way that doesn't sound the best as well as it would in real life. So just deal with learn from it what you can learn, and move on. Don't post 3 times about how I'm gonna get a better camera and I hate you guys, and it's just, there's no point.
Yeah, and that also stems from defensive. It also stems from people being all mean about things. If we were to just be like, it was a little bit bad here and there, but you could improve in this way, and this way, and this way. But apparently, some people don't like to do that now, do they?
Apparently not.
Nope.
It does go to both sides, though. Like, on one hand, people need to learn how to give constructive criticism without just criticizing. People also need to learn how to take that constructive criticism without just being offended.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing, if I may, I think even if the film is absolutely horrible, which you shouldn't tell the person, you shouldn't be like you guys said, oh my god, that was horrible. But, don't only focus on the negative stuff, like on what they can improve on, but you should also tell them what was actually good about the film.
Mm. Just think about what kind of review would I like to be getting if I was the one making
Don't
this
say
film.
it. Oh, sorry. But don't
Go
say
ahead.
it like, but this was good after you say all the bad things. Just say it, like, you should say it like in between, when, like, before you say what you're saying, I guess. Like, start it off with the good things and then go towards the bad things instead of saying it at the end while after you just bash them. It's just a little, yeah.
Well, you shouldn't be bashing.
It should be a
them in the
balance.
Build them up
place.
before you cut them down.
Negative and good.
Yeah. No, bashing isn't the right word. So, yeah.
Disapproving.
Critiquing.
That's it.
Yeah, I guess.
So yeah, I think this is really just an example of let's play nice with each other, let's all be decent people, and not take internet drama that seriously.
Drama.
Keep it people on the interwebs.
What's that?
Decent people on the interwebs.
Yeah. Internet, serious business.
That's what I'll title this
All right.
episode. Alright, just like every other show with a guest, we have our plug time with our guest, and our guest is Sean. So, plug away.
Plug. Alright, so at the moment I'm working on really one big project. It's an entry for Shopfest, which, according to its website, is the world's largest short film festival. I don't know how that relates to, like, the Cannes films and whatnot, but anyway, it's I've been running for quite a while and it is pretty big. The theme for this year of it is something to do with the word key, and I guess like with a lot of words in Brick Films competitions, you're pretty much open to interpret that how you want. So that's fun. It also has a time limit of 7 minutes, but otherwise there's a lot of freedom in it. So without trying to spoil too much about it, it's basically about a toy robot who's trying to get to his key to wind himself up again.
Nice. So is there
Sounds
a
like
minimum
That's
time
awesome.
limit on the contest, or is it just max 7 and minimum whatever?
No, it's just a maximum of 7 minutes. I think it's kind of assumed that like it'll be at least a minute or two, but there isn't technically a minimum time for it.
Where is Shopfest held?
It's actually an Australian contest. I think that there was a New York
how
one,
is
but
it
they
the world's
have enough
largest?
funding for it or something.
Say that again?
It's Australia based, but I believe that there was a New York version of it, but they did not have enough funding to carry through it this year, as far as I'm aware.
I see. Do you know how many people or how many entries are usually drawn in?
Oh, heaps and heaps. I think they kind of, as far as I know, they narrow it down to about 600 entries to choose from.
Wow.
But there's so many entries, it's crazy. And this year is the first year that they're accepting entries online through YouTube. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's even more entries than usual.
How long have you been working on this short?
I've been working on it for a couple of months now. Only recently I've started getting really into doing it full time. Because for some of that I spent most of the time storyboarding, building up a roughly animated storyboard of it, to get all my timing right and figure out all the skits that I'm going to be having the robot do. Otherwise, I've gotten the live action footage for it to edit, which is... Sorry, I'll back up a bit here. Maybe we can just edit that out. I don't know.
Sure.
Anyway, so after the storyboarding, I was waiting on a prop to arrive, which was kind of an old school red and white horseshoe magnet, which is a prop that I needed before I could start shooting, and I was waiting for that to arrive from the UK for just over 2 weeks, I think, which was quite frustrating, not being able to start filming in that time.
Oh, those silly Brits.
Yeah, well, it was an eBay store. I mean, worldwide shipping is pretty slow anyway.
That was for you, T-Dog. If you're listening, that was for you.
Oh, snap!
Trollololo.
Anyways, go ahead.
yeah. Anyway, so it was quite frustrating waiting for that to arrive, but once it did, I just went out and shot all the live action that I could.